Manifesting gives you more than what you asked for when you weren't even manifesting in the first place. If you want to know what I'm talking about, because I think this girl's on one, keep listening.
Manifest mindset with me.
Hello and welcome to Manifest Mindset by Affirm Afform Attract. Your place to come to when you need tips and advice when manifesting. We are an affirmation channel and you can find all our affirmation videos on YouTube. What did this girl say? Anyway, hello and welcome to Manifest Mindset with Affirm Afform Attract. How you all doing, people? How are you all doing? I hope this podcast finds you well. I hope you are ready to absorb some information, advice, some tips, some knowledge, and apply it to your life. Let me delve into my story. In my last podcast, I enjoyed telling my story so much. I'm going to tell this one. Now, in my other podcast, I've done some examples, and I use this as an example, but I don't think I've actually done a particular story based on this. If I have, I apologize, but hey, success stories is a success story and sometimes we need to hear it more than once. So let me begin. Anyway, a few years ago, and I think this was before I started doing law of attraction, law of assumption type of stuff. I think so, or just around about the same time. Cannot remember. Anyway, I had a goal that I've got credit cards and stuff like that, and I want to pay them off. I want to pay these credit cards off. I've got loads of credit cards, loads of loans, loads of debt, loads of whatever. And I had one, take the lowest one, and my goal was to pay it off. I weren't manifesting it. I weren't affirming it. It was, I had a little plan with my income. I'm going to close my eyes and pay. I had £326 left or something like that. And so I paid £150. Yeah? I said, I want to get this over and done with as soon as possible so I can move to the next debt, whatever. Paid it. So I had £150 and or £156 and some change left, something like that. So just over £300. So I was going to pay it the following week, but I didn't. For some reason, I didn't. I just lazy, whatever. I'm just like, it just didn't bother me. Yeah, I was like, oh, I'll pay it when I pay it. I had the money to pay it, right? But I just didn't bother. Then I think the following week came and I kind of did the same thing. I think 2 weeks passed and I just didn't bother. I had the money, mind you, to pay it. And I was just, I don't know why I was delaying. All I'm going to do is go online and put in the money. I don't know why I was delaying. Anyway, something said to me, let me just pay this off. Stop dilly-dallying for no reason. So I went and I paid the money. Okay? Next thing you know, a week or so later, I get a letter through my bank. Not my, for my bank. I got a letter saying, oh, you've made an overpayment. Here's the check. And I was like, huh? What? So I didn't have an account online because back then people didn't have accounts like you do now. I think there's accounts for everything. You can, have your account and check your loans and credit cards and stuff. Back when I got this loan, they didn't have any of that. At least I didn't think they did anyway. Whereas now it's kind of just the natural thing to do. And I went and I opened the account and I put all my details in because I was just like, is this right? Like, I know I've got 150 something pounds left to pay. And I could be wrong in the figure, but just it doesn't really matter. The figure doesn't really matter. So I went on there, opened up my account, says account is paid in full. I owe no money. I went and put that check in my bank so fast. And I was happy because two things happened. I earned extra money and I paid, and my debt was paid in full. And again, just like my other story, I was this one I was really happy. I was really, really happy. Like my income was small and stuff. I wasn't struggling too much, but it wasn't, I couldn't go on holiday or just buy anything I want. So to have this extra money back into my account and my debt be paid off, oh my gosh, I was so thankful. I just gave praise and thanks and praise. Now, like I said at the beginning, I don't think I was on the law of assumption, attraction, manifesting journey yet. I'm trying to, I can't think of the timeline. Was my mum alive then? I really can't remember. But either way, I just had a goal. You know, we have goals. Oh, we're gonna have a goal. I want to pay these debts off by the end of the year. I want to pay these, and that's it. Yeah, we're talking. We're not doing it in the view coming from the point of view of manifesting or affirming it. It's just a goal that you set yourself, and life has done that for us a few times, given us more than what we expected. But unfortunately, when we live in misery and sad and being miserable and feeling sorry for ourselves, we forget these little blessings that we have. We forget the blessings that we get. We forget when life picks us up and gives us a little bit more. It doesn't have to be extravagant, but it could be a little bit more than you wanted. And I was just like, wow. When I was doing these affirmations, and I got a manifestation channel, which I literally have neglected. I haven't posted on it for about a year. I've been focusing on this one and some other stuff. And I think I told my story on that, actually. And it was just kind of like, wow, look at that. I was manifesting and affirming something without me manifesting and affirming something. Confused? Yeah, I'll explain more. Now, as you may have heard, we are constantly manifesting. It's just that some of us know about it and try to manifest consciously, while the rest of us manifest subconsciously. And even those of us who are on our journey and we know about law of assumption, law of attraction, etc., we still manifest subconsciously. And that shows up in our life when we look at where we are, and if it's a place where we don't want to be or a place we are where we want to be, it's been manifested. Excuse me. So what happened in my situation is I focused on the goal at hand, and the goal was to get rid of this particular debt. So it will free up more money, and then I can move on to the next debt that I would like to pay off. That was my goal. I didn't think about how I was going to do it in a sense of, obviously I knew I was going to do it. I said, right, I want to pay half now and then pay the rest in a week's time, the following week. So I knew what I wanted to do it. But when I mean how, as in, I wasn't thinking about, am I going to leave myself short to pay my other bills? I just weren't thinking any negatives. It was just like, this is what I want to do and I'm going to do it. I didn't think of any other variables. That was it. Yeah, the same way you say, right, I'm going to make some scrambled eggs. You don't deviate. You're going to go downstairs in the kitchen, open the fridge or wherever you store your eggs, take your eggs out, crack it, scramble it, and put it in a pot. Whether you use butter, whether you use oil, you're going to have scrambled eggs. Okay, you don't deviate. You don't do it and then you end up saying, maybe I should do a fried egg or eggs Benedict or an omelette or anything like that. You're just going to go down straight, do your eggs exactly how I was visualizing when I was going to pay off this one particular debt. And when I think of my life in the past, when I wanted to do something, I mean, I've always been like that, and I'm still actually like that, to be fair. Unfortunately, sometimes life experiences does put doubt in your subconscious, does put lack of confidence in your subconscious, and you end up living that life to an extent, regardless of what your conscious mind wants to do. And in that particular instance, it was, I want to pay off this debt. That was the only goal. I want to pay this debt off. That was it. I want to pay this particular debt off so I can move to the next one or whatever. That was it. And my circumstances was a lot better then than it is now, but it wasn't that much better. It wasn't bad or anything like that, but it wasn't like I was in some high paying job. I wasn't working. I had a young child. I was caring for my mum as well, so that was my circumstance. So I didn't have an abundance of income and stuff like that. But if it was after my mum died, then I would have been working with my dad. So it's between that time. And sorry, it's not showing high. I need to get close to the mic. So it's these little reminders that happen. I forget about them when things get tough, and just seems like there's no end to what you don't want. But there are times when my memory will say, listen, this is what you've done. Even though you didn't manifest it or affirm it consciously, look what happened. You didn't have to pay off the debt. You actually got money back from it because it was an overpayment that you paid. So these things happen. And because I had no attachment, it was just what I wanted to do. I wanted to go and pay my debt. I wanted to finish pay it. That was it. I didn't put it on a pedestal. I didn't focus how I'm going to do it. I didn't focus on things that's going to stop me from getting it. Anything that's going to come in my way. And none of that was even a thought in my head. And this basically is what we need to do when we want to manifest. We need to say, right, I want a successful business. I want to make 2 sales a day, 3 sales a day. I know that sounds really little and really low, but sometimes just put a number on it. 4, 5, a number that you think you can handle. To say you want to get 100 sales a day, yeah, and it's all you're going to do is end up just being negative and doubtful, then there's no point saying 100 sales a day. I know some people may argue, oh, just go for it, go for the big numbers. And I agree, go for the big numbers, because even myself, when I want to manifest, I might say I want this. It's always just what I need and want. But sometimes I find that when I do that, I don't get it. And part of me believes I will get it more if I aimed for 10 times that amount. Because if you aim for the 10 times the amount, the chances are you're going to get closer to what you wanted in the first place. It's almost like a trick of the brain. It's kind of like, don't manifest for £500, manifest for 1,500. So if you manifest for 1,500 and you're going to do whatever it needs to be done, whether it's doing your business or just sitting there meditating, I'm not saying you're not going to get that 1,500, you probably will, but if you don't get the 1,500 but you get the actual amount that you really needed, which was 500, you're going to be happy. Sometimes we have to play these games with ourselves just for us to get to the next step. It's just how it is, and until you can get to a place where, I know when I say I want £1,000, I know £1,000 is going to come. Until you are at that stage, sometimes you just got to play games or do exercises to get you to where you need to be. But also I encourage you that look at your life, look at the things that might have happened in your life, no matter how small. And and I'm talking about the positive stuff that's happened. Look at it and use that as a stepping stone for you to manifest another thing into your life. Because like I said before, sometimes I forget these things. And when I go down the road of feeling sorry for myself, feeling a bit crappy, feeling a bit this, do you know what? Sometimes it's just like, no, just focus on the what you want out of life. Yeah. Pick a memory that has brought you a little bit of manifestation success. Even if you weren't manifesting consciously at the time because you didn't really know about it, think of all these other things and use it as a catalyst. Yeah, that was my story of, how I manifested something without consciously manifesting at the time, but at the same time, and at the same time getting more than what I asked for. My goal was just to pay off my debt. That was it. And not only did I do that, I got money back as well. Like I said, again, I can't remember if I was on this manifestation journey already or it was just before it. I really can't. It's a bit hazy, but it doesn't matter. The story remains the same. Anyway, I hope you find this podcast helpful, and I hope that when you are trying to manifest, that you just focus on what you want to manifest at hand, but don't think about the variables. The variables will come to you naturally. Yeah, something will say to you, go online. Something will say to you, take a pen and paper. Something will say to you, do a post. Something will say to you, read a book, or go to this podcast, or go to this website. Something will naturally say to you, and there will be steps, I don't know how many, to then that will lead you to the outcome that you want. Anyway, everybody, I'm off. I thank you for listening, and I shall see you next time.